Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Codiak, raid leader for Exiled Power, and today I want to talk about a little bit of bittersweet news, and that is one of the top raiding guilds in World of Warcraft, Serenity, has called it quits due to a number of problems, both internally, externally, whatever you want to call it. Now, Sloot, who many of you guys know is a prominent streamer and one of the tanks, former tanks, I guess you could say, for Serenity, put out a statement kind of sharing his feelings, sharing his thoughts about what's going on. There was a lot of references to healing issues and roster issues, which a lot of us go through. But I think there is a bigger underlying issue here that has to do with the world first race and raiding in general in Legion. Now, I'm not a world first raider, so I'm not going to really talk to that too much because many of you may know more about it, maybe more insightful into that world. I don't follow more than just the basics of the world first race. But there is something to be said about kind of the content of what the Serenity team was talking about. This kind of hit the ground running mentality that struck most of us in Legion and left a lot to be desired for players across the board, whether you're high-end rating or casual. And a lot of that has to do with the effort that was forced upon us by, I guess you could say, the game itself, the expansion, right at the beginning. Right out of the gate, players were really fighting to put as much time and effort into getting AP, getting your gear up, all of that stuff just so we could hit the ground running. And that kind of feeling has just started to wane away. As we prepare for Tomb of Sargeras, there is obviously a little bit of a grind with the expansion of the artifact weapons. But at this point, the majority of players kind of have taken a step back. You'll notice that a lot of the servers are quiet. There's not a lot of chatter. There's some people following the PTRs and what's going on in 7.2.5. But at this point, there is a step back. And that's fine, all well and good. But I think, and this is the point here, the damage has been done. And again, you guys can go read the message from Sloot and the Serenity team. And you can also go read what Mythic has posted, because a lot of the raiders from Serenity are actually going to Mythic. Now, I'm not sure, again, I don't follow this 100% to the letter, but Fragnance, Lazzle, Gingy, and Deep Shades are moving from Serenity to the Mythic team, and they all have quotes on the Mythic website that you guys can read. There is this hunger still for World First, but there is such... and there's only so much of an appetite for it. And the community itself, yeah, we follow it, yeah, we care about it, but at the end of the day, the game is not designed around world first rating. There is a business model that Blizzard has to consider, right? This casual approach or this hardcore high-end approach. And how do they split the difference? How do they meet everybody in the middle? Because you know that's not going to make anybody happy. And that's kind of where we're at this point. Blizzard caters content to a casual crowd, the high-end community gets really upset. Blizzard caters things to the high-end crowd, the casual community gets upset. And you have to remember, the base of Blizzard's finances and the business model come from the casual core of raiders that play this game. The people that may not be pushing World First, may not even be pushing heroic content, maybe the players that are just doing LFR and normal content. You have to remember, we did the little video the other day about the artifact knowledge, right? The artifact challenge appearance and knowledge and all that good stuff. And the average item level of classes was 40 item levels lower, somewhere between 40 to 50, sometimes even 60 or 70 item levels lower than the top echelon of players, which means the game itself is months behind where the top end of the spectrum is. These players from Serenity, these players from Method. And there is this thing that we always talk about, which is the burnout of players at that top tier. Maintaining rosters, I can speak to it from a raid leading perspective. It is extremely challenging. Luckily for us, we've really hit the sweet spot with this 2-day rating thing. We kind of can refresh our batteries between all of our rating and get right back into it. Yes, we still have roster issues. The summer is upon us, which means we're going to have even more roster issues with people taking vacation and kind of taking a step back. Tomb of Sargeras is coming out in June, so we'll see kind of a resurgence of players here. But back to Serenity for a second. These guys really put their blood, sweat, and tears into this raid. I don't believe that the split for Method was clean, and I'm sure there were some malintent in there, but that's kind of how it happens. There is no way to cleanly say, okay guys, I'm leaving for greener pastures, or what I think is going to be greener pastures, and everything be hunky-dory. So Serenity tried their hardest. They put a lot of effort on into the 3 tiers that they've been raiding. They put a lot of pressure on themselves, and obviously, when you're stacked up against a team like Method and what SCO has built over there, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the leadership and on the Raiders themselves. So having a rotating roster, having to deal with issues of performance and things like that is really, really challenging. And that's not even about the personalities themselves. Now, it is in my experience that the top echelon of players, there is a combination of kind of salty people in the mix, and there are some great players in the mix, great people in the mix. My method and my philosophy for leading a team is always about surrounding yourselves with the best players. So we'll never really have a true insight into why Serenity broke up, other than what they've told us in tweets and their statements and things like that. But in terms of running a team, there's no more important thing than surrounding yourself with the right people. And that's what it seems like it came down to with Serenity. There were some issues with the roster. The people just didn't click as things were kind of revolving, dooring, I guess you could say, around the team and as the raids were progressing. Now, there were about 50 plus raiders in Serenity, so a decent stretch of players over 3 tiers of raiding. It's just really sad to see another top tier guild fall by the wayside, but that's how it goes. That's the way this game works. If you've looked back since, all the way from vanilla all the way up till now, you will notice that there are no longer some of those top tier teams that we used to know and love. You can go back and look at the lists, and a lot of those world first guilds aren't even around. They're not even a thing anymore. Their websites may still be up. You could take a peek at them and really kind of get all nostalgic up in here, but that's the way the game works, and it's not going to stop now, nor will it stop in the future. So some sad news from our friends over at Serenity. We wish all of the raiders that are continuing and all of the raiders that are taking a step back the best. And obviously we wish Method the best as they continue to push for the world first. It's not easy running a guild, guys. That's the bottom line. It's very challenging. And when you're at that top tier of rating, when you're under the microscope all the time, it's only more challenging. So all the best to you guys in Serenity and in Method, and all the rest of you raiders that watch this channel and support us. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do. Keep up the good work, keep the spirits high, and get ready for the Tomb of Sargeras in patch 7.2.5. My name is Codiak, raid leader for Exiled Power, and we will see you next time.